You love this feeling of having people everywhere. So thank you so much for being here. Good afternoon. Welcome to our celebration and our opportunity to educate you about this university in so many ways. All of our colleagues are here, all over the building, and we're so grateful for that. This is what the University of Massachusetts Boston is about. And this symbolic building that hugs you as you come on our campus is what it's all about. And so we celebrate today not just the symbolism of a building, but a tribute to everyone who's dedicated their lives over this last 50 years as the University of Massachusetts Boston, day in and day out, serving this community, serving those students who come as they are, transforming them, retooling them, and helping them go out into this world and out to this community and beyond and make a difference. They are everywhere around you. They are all over this building. Let's give them a round of applause. There are going to be tours later. There'll be opportunities to interact with each other later as well. So whether you toured earlier or you're going to tour later on, we're so grateful. It's always a beautiful day at the University of Massachusetts Boston. Whatever you thought you felt, all that wind, the rain, and all the people got up this morning, I had no electricity. Got in the shower, and it stopped. Then the lights came back on. Showered, ran here to this university to serve. There are so many of you who've helped to make this first stage of a multi-year dream come true. I can't begin to thank all of my colleagues who are here just for your faith. When I showed up, you told me it hadn't been done in 40 years. I told you that you never had a tall chancellor before. You never had a giant-sized governor before who could see eye to eye with your chancellor, and now here we stand. It is an honor to see you here today. It is an honor to be a part of this. It's an honor to thank you today, because this is sort of like a preliminary glimpse of what's going to happen when this building opens up. We didn't want you, Governor, to be out anywhere in this Commonwealth and not understand how grateful we were for jump-starting this process of revitalization on this campus. So, future occupants, students, faculty, yes, give them a round of applause. You allowed us to do it when no one else wanted us to make sure that we had a project labor agreement that allowed for our people to go back to work right in this community. Future occupants, students, faculty and staff, executive leadership team members, board of visitors, alumni board members, donors, corporate and research partners, those who will work in these labs every day. Our Division of Capital Management and Maintenance Commissioner, Carol Corneliuson, Christopher Weibacher, who's the CEO of Santa Fe and chair of Genzyme, who's here today with us as well. All of our elected officials, whether it's Representative Collins or Holmes or Livingstone or Sanchez or Senator Linda Dorsina Forey and or Maureen Gary from Mayor Walsh's office or Mayor Walsh himself. And of course you, Governor Patrick, you got it when no one else did. See, I'm a Johnny-come-lately to this. They taught me how to love this place and how to see and visualize dreams for it long before I understood what it meant. And what it is what our founders envisioned. A place where you could come and just feel good when you show up. A place where you could come to and they wanted it to be equal to or better than the best. And when I look around here, I think we're sort of getting there, equal to. We've always had great people. But now I wanted to have facilities that sort of catch up to that. And we haven't caught it yet. but we will. Take a moment to look around you at the very real results of all of your work. Your investment in our vision matters. And then take another moment and feel the force of our gratitude for all of you. I can't tell you how many lives you've changed, how many discoveries are going to be made right in this building, and they wanted it. My colleagues wanted it to be a place where children walk by. And as they're going down the street, it'll be like watching something on their phone or on their iPad or on their television, being as old school as I am. Because everything's so open, and they'll just learn that they too can do it if given an opportunity. And so that's an amazing thing. But I can tell you how much of a difference you made in just one student's life. Berzabel, I saw you somewhere. She's been helping her professors study the influence of human activity on plant environments. And she says right now, she's right now in our outdated science center. She told me that the labs were too small. Sorry, y'all, you've been in there forever, I know. And they lack the equipment they need to take their research further. Staff have told me that for a long time, and so we wanted to do something about it. So when they asked me, Chancellor, isn't it in Chancellor 101 that you start with revenue-generating buildings first? Not here at this university. We started where we needed to start, and that is providing the kind of resource for our students that will impact their learning, and then we move forward from there. So for Berzabel and others, a new building with new equipment means that she and her professor can advance their research in a bigger space with all the tools they need to carry out their level of scholarship. She says the integrated science complex will mean labs for multiple disciplines in one building. That's the notion of integration, which means that each scientist and each scholar in the building can interact across disciplines and learn from one another. She also says there'll be more spaces where she can tutor other students. See, that gift of giving back. Not only is it about her, it's about her capacity to give back to other students. One-on-one, have meetings for student organizations, and have greater access to computing. All that gain just for Berzabel and like other students like that. But we have nearly 17,000 students like her here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, whose experience is about to be enriched with possibility and opportunity. I didn't even understand why we needed that catwalk until today. Now, I guess you all have made a believer out of me. Once the doors of this building officially open for classes and research next semester, nearly 17,000 students like her who are yearning for larger labs, more modern equipment, space for them to conduct their research will be able to walk through this door regardless of their discipline. And so we're so proud about that. Research labs that support biology, chemistry, environmental sciences, physics, psychology, undergraduate and introductory biology teaching laboratories, an interdisciplinary undergraduate sandbox teaching lab, an infant lab. An infant lab, dealing with the cognitive things that we talk about and the studies we do there. The Center for Personalized Cancer Therapy and Developmental Research Center, exhibition space, conference room, food, service, lounge, inside this multidisciplinary building that incorporates the hard sciences, life sciences, engineering sciences, social sciences, and environmental sciences. Dean Turkla of the College of Liberal Arts and his faculty and students will work with Dean Grozovsky of the College of Science and Mathematics and his faculty and students. Research fellows will be crossing over to collaborate on interdisciplinary projects because we have a provost who dreamed of this, now sits in the front row with his eyes closed, taking it all in, saying, "Dag, Chancellor, you took my speech. You're not the keynote, but I'm hyped up." Undergraduates be encouraged to try multiple fields of research and study and combine them as they wish. The diversity of sciences inside this integrated science complex will mirror the diversity of the students, faculty, staff who are studying in them, and you all have made that happen. Thank you. We agreed to a series of goals for our construction teams to put people to work from our own city of Boston. Thank you for that. Mrs. Walsh and family, all I can do is say thank you. Thank you, thank you. To give good paying jobs to workers of color and women workers. To give good paying jobs to veterans who served our country. We had a goal for women in our construction teams of 10%. We met that goal. And an ad lib on that. When we first started, it was raining every day. And I looked out my window, and a young lady who is a University of Massachusetts Boston graduate put up tents or tarps to make sure the work went on regardless of that rain. And it was amazing, and here we are today. We had a goal for people of color in our construction team, 25%, and we met that goal and exceeded it by having 34% of our teams identifying as minorities. We had a goal for the city, this great city of Boston, and its residents. They would make up 50% or half of our teams. We met that goal. And 6% of our construction team are United States Armed Forces veterans. We've been careful, we've tracked it. Today, we're so grateful, and we want to spread that economic benefit to some of our neighbors that need it most. This building is a net positive for everyone involved in its creation. It's going to continue to do so for years to come. So proud of the University of Massachusetts Boston this afternoon. We've done what we said we would do, and we will continue to work together to do what we say we're going to do. With your help, we can make that happen. Thank you so much for your investment in our students, your confidence in us. We're so grateful to you, Governor, and others. It's now my honor to introduce the person whose advocacy for, commitment to, and funding of the University of Massachusetts Boston has enabled us to reach such great heights. This integrated sciences complex, as it looks out onto this city, is a great symbol of our leadership's consistent investment in public higher education, and by extension, his support for helping unlock the vast potential of this Commonwealth's residents. Please join me in welcoming my governor, your governor, Deval Patrick.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chancellor Motley. Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be with you all today. We have an understanding, the Chancellor and I, having been here many times before, that when I am asked to come to the podium, he steps away from the podium. In the past, what's happened is that I've been invited to come up and sit on a stool next to him while he speaks. And then I get up and he goes back to the stool and he still towers over me. So I appreciate your indulging the illusion of my being a big governor. I hope in personality anyhow. I want to thank you and acknowledge you, Chancellor, and all of your team members here, the members of the staff and faculty, the students. Secretary Malone is here, our Secretary of Education, Commissioner Cornelison, who's done such extraordinary work on this and other facilities, members of the legislature who are here as well. I want to acknowledge the MTA, who are here in, You cut a fair deal, you need to be paid, I get it. I get it. Now I'm going back to this, okay? I love you guys, you know that. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be here in this exceptionally beautiful building with this exceptional talent that it is intended to support. I'm glad that the University of Massachusetts Boston is embarking on its 25-year long-term capital plan. I think that's enormously important. I'm glad this building turned out to be so beautiful and such a striking statement of our investment in the life sciences and biotech and in the sciences generally. And I'm thrilled, really, that it's on time and on budget, and we get to come in before everybody else does, which feels like we're sort of, playing in school when it's closed. But it's not about the buildings. The buildings are an expression of our confidence in the leadership, in the research, in the brain power, in the young people who use the buildings. And that's why it's important for us to invest in our institutions of public higher ed. We are right now participating in a knowledge explosion in the whole global economy. And our edge, as Chris knows, we've talked about this many times, our edge here in the Commonwealth is the fact that we have an extraordinary concentration of brain power here. Hundreds of colleges and universities and research institutions and teaching hospitals right here within 90 minutes of where we're all sitting. That's an unusual opportunity for us if we make the most of it. And making the most of it is not sitting idly by and expecting that everyone else is going to appreciate just how great we are. Making the most of it is cultivating it, encouraging it, asking people to turn to and work with each other. The level of collaboration within this campus and between this and the other 5 campuses of UMass and between UMass and other public colleges and universities and their private brothers and sisters is incredibly powerful. And what this and other projects like it that we've been doing, frankly, I think the largest capital investment program in public higher ed in 40 years here in the Commonwealth, is not about it's not about buildings alone. It is about a confidence in and an aspiration for the kind of future we can shape together. Make the most of it. It's great to be with you.
But you notice I left the podium kind of high here today. Listen, thank you. And thank you for acknowledging my colleagues that are here and all your support. I also want to say to the architects are here, I know somewhere. They rode up in the elevator with me. Stand up for a minute. Where are you? And the reason I want them to stand is because I put you all through some stuff. Because I wanted you to understand that these people on this campus with me deserved not a 60%, not an 80%, not 100, but 100+% effort in designing this place in a building that would stand in the wind and in the test of time, and you've done that. So thank you so much for doing that. But we'll have another chance to thank you, too, when we cut those ribbons in the future. Thank you, Governor Patrick. Thank you for your consistent support for Boston's Urban Public Research University. We've been talking about public-private partnerships today and how they benefit our students. You've heard a lot so far from the public side. Now it's time to talk about how these partnerships benefit the private side as well. I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker, someone who is just as eager as we are for the ISC to officially open its doors, someone whose companies are setting a model for what public-private partnerships can achieve in terms of fostering the next generation of diverse STEM leaders and in training a skilled workforce, someone who shares our vision for the student success in STEM. Please join me in welcoming the CEO of Sanofi and chair of Genzyme, Christopher Deval Patrick. Chris. Thank you, man.
Well, thank you, Chancellor, and thank you very much for the excellent partnership that we've been able to build. Governor, thank you for your leadership in the biotech industry. Over the last 10 years, the biotech industry in Boston has grown by 41%. That's at least 10 points higher than any other industry anywhere else in the country. Sanofi is a company that's everywhere in the world. When I came 6 years ago, we had 110,000 people in pretty much any country you can name. And we only had 100 people here in Boston. And today we have 5,000. And this was a very specific strategic move, largely because I don't think there is really another community, another biotech ecosystem anywhere comparable to Boston. And it's quite interesting, as a part-time resident now, I'm seeing a number of things around the city. I went to see the old the naval yards, and I read somewhere that once 50,000 people worked there in its heyday. Now, in many other cities, when if a naval shipyard that had once employed 50,000 people during the Second World War closed, you'd see an awful lot of urban blight. You'd see perhaps an awful lot of unemployment. But one of the interesting things is that Boston seems to be one of those cities that has adapted constantly to opportunity. And I think it comes back to the strength of the people you find here. This is, according to the statistics I've seen, the best educated workforce anywhere in the United States. And that means that human capital is thinking about what is the next opportunity. And I think the other thing is that, as the governor was just saying, one can't always count on that success. Where is the next success going to come from? And I can tell you from a company point of view, we will invest where we find the best people. It is wonderful to be in this magnificent building. I suspect I smell almost as much fresh paint as the governor. But as the governor said, it's not so much the building. Buildings don't do research. It all comes down to people. And so one of the things that was very interesting about the program here at UMass was, science, mathematics, engineering, technology, that's all very hard stuff. And when you look at the statistics, the U.S. is actually falling behind. I spend a lot of time traveling elsewhere. China is churning out 50,000 PhDs in science and technology every year. And they are becoming the second country in the world in terms of patent filings, in terms of actually scientific publications. And so the governor's right to say, how does Boston maintain its edge? And my personal belief is that the countries who will be the most competitive are those countries that have the most competitive universities. Because this is where we're shaping the next generation. This is where we're shaping the people who will take Boston and our industries to the next level. Now, what we see, though, is that education is expensive. I'm a father of 3 children. One just graduated, so it's a major savings in the household budget. She's doing an internship yet, so I wouldn't want to exaggerate the savings just yet. But it's expensive, it's difficult, and so one of the things that really attracted me about this program was it's a public university. This is, I understand, the only public university in the greater Boston area. That means it is important from an access point of view for those who can't necessarily afford to go to college. But even after we provide financial aid, it doesn't necessarily mean that people will stick it through and get to graduation. And what I really was fascinated was, here was a pilot program that had been put in place to try to mentor and coach young people. When you get into that really hard point, and I had a few minutes to talk to some students here, what happens when it gets difficult? How do we keep them in these programs? Because we won't be a success in Boston unless we have a constant flow of brilliant people. And so what are we doing? Well, the pilot program started in 2009, and we now have retention numbers that are more than 10% higher than for UMass Boston as a whole. And 70% of these students remain enrolled in their junior or senior year and are on track to graduate in 4 years. So we decided to turbocharge that program. We decided to invest $1 million over 5 years to help fund that work. So now, after a year, I have a report card here. The freshman success community has been expanded to 282 students, a 34% increase since our partnership with UMass Boston was started. Graduation rates for students in the program are on track to be more than 50% higher than the college's campus-wide graduation rate and the national STEM graduation rates, even with large increases in students in STEM majors. So this is why I think this program is a real success. No point having a great building if we don't have great people in it. And we won't succeed unless these great people actually make it to the end of the route and graduate. So I'd like to not only congratulate the university on this program, thank the governor for his leadership on biotech, but to all the students, keep the faith. When you look at what's happening today, you cannot go anywhere in the world and pick up a newspaper and people aren't concerned about the Ebola crisis. Who are the next bright people to find a cure for Ebola? Alzheimer's is something where we don't have a cure today. If we do not solve Alzheimer's, this will be a cost to the Social Security and Medicare systems in the United States to the tune of about $50 billion per year. So it's not just for jobs, it's not just for investment, it is because with STEM, we can make such a difference in people's lives. So that's why we were motivated to do it. We're very proud to be associated with it. We thank you for including us in that partnership, and we wish all the students a great success. Thank you.
So when I met him, I said, Chancellor, I don't just want to give you some money. I want to come over to the campus and see you. I want to see students. I want to walk around. And I said, yeah, okay. And here you are, a man of your word. We're so grateful to you, man. Thank you. We're grateful to be partnered with you. Thanks so much. Give Christopher a round of applause. Dick Campbell, fierce University of Massachusetts, Boston soldier, trustee for this university, has a vision for this place that is just incredible, supportive of every issue we have. And so, Governor, battling for everything on that board, and we're so grateful to have Dick, great choice of a board member, and we're so grateful, Dick. Thank you for being here today. Let's give him a round of applause. We mentioned Dean Turkla and Dean Grozowski earlier, but all of your teams, thank you. Ellen O'Connor, I add on to her portfolio everything, including moving dirt, plants, and everything else. And her team, when we gave them this date, they just shook their head. But here we are, and it's beautiful. Thank you and your team for all of your hard work. Dorothy and team. I mentioned the provost earlier. We're so grateful to you for your academic leadership and your vision around our research, and all of our executive team for your coming together. And Gina, we need a name for this building. We need a name for this building. Commissioner Cornelison, from the very beginning, you got it. So now you all have heard about the Integrated Sciences Complex and how wonderful it is and all those kinds of things, but I want you to hear from somebody who's been on the ground floor with us from the very beginning. She is the person, the commissioner of our state's Division of Capital, Asset Management, and Maintenance. We call them affectionately DCAM. I want to bring her forward to say a few words. She's managing this project. We drive her crazy. They drive us crazy. Together we're crazy, but we crazily got this thing done, if that's a word. And I just have loved it, and I look forward to cutting that ribbon as we move forward together. Come on forward and say a few words. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Good afternoon, University of Boston community, and thank you, my friend, Chancellor Motley. Governor, it's always a pleasure to be with you, although I always hate following him. He's such a great speaker, But I'm thrilled to be here today. I've been looking forward to this day for 3 years. It's a special occasion to really celebrate this state-of-the-art and energy-efficient, magnificent facility. The students, the faculty, neighbors, and alumni, all who walk through these doors will be enriched by the quality of the environment that supports the academic offerings and research that will take place here. It's true that this is the first brand new academic building completed on this campus in 40 years, but just look around the campus. This isn't the only thing that's happening. It's the first in a well-designed plan for renewal and growth of this great university that has entered now its second 50 years with a bang. Congratulations are deserved all around on this marvelous integrated sciences complex. It's a privilege, I tell you, to lead DCAM and work with our partners, UMass Boston, UMass Building Authority, and the community on this project. We're looking forward to working together to implement a 10-year plan to improve the campus infrastructure and support the learning environment. In preparation for today, I talked for some time with longtime Boston residents and looked at some of the history and read the remarks of Arthur Schlesinger, who gave the convocation address for UMass Boston in 1966. The title of his address was "The University in an Urban Society." His remarks are still very relevant today. He said, quote, "Our institutions of higher education, and most particularly our city universities, will need a larger share of our national abundance. The modern university, if it is to serve its true role in the urban industrial society, requires resources above all for libraries and laboratories, which constitute the beating heart of academic life, as well as for the classroom and residential facilities, which can transform education from an ordeal to an opportunity." No one has taken those words to heart more than our Governor Deval Patrick. Under his leadership and his unprecedented personal support and capital investment for higher education, we're able to be here today to recognize this success. It's great to be able to mention that during this administration, the Integrated Sciences Facility is only one of many projects to improve and expand the infrastructure at our college and university campus, really across the Commonwealth. In fact, and Governor, you asked me this question yesterday. We were out at Worcester State, and you hate to be asked a question by the governor that you can't answer. He asked me this question. I said, "Really?" I'm saying to myself, "Really, Governor? You're asking me that?" So I didn't have an answer, but I have an answer for him today. We have completed, and you all should know this, at least one project completed or have underway, one project in every one of the 29 public institutions of higher education across this Commonwealth. 18 have been fully completed. We have 9 currently under construction, and 25 are in study and design. So we have really an abundance of investment in higher education that is, manifesting itself. Actual capital investment in projects completed has amounted to over $500 million. And that's not all. To date, and there's more to come, over $30 million has been expended on energy conservation measures in these institutions. Higher education investment, as we all know, is also spurring economic activity and creating jobs. Throughout the lifespan of this project, workforce goals were met or exceeded on a consistent basis. And the Chancellor mentioned this, but I'm going to just touch on it again because it is so important. I think you will be pleased to hear that ISC has employed 48% Boston residents, 34% minorities, 10% females, and 6% veterans. It's an accomplishment. More than 30% of the total workforce who worked on this facility reside right in UMass Boston's backyard, within the Dorchester neighborhood, actually. And approximately 65% reside in other neighborhoods throughout the city. Additionally, our goals were exceeded with regard to engaging minority and women contractors. Our 4% goal for women was a goal, but we achieved 6.2%, and for minorities, we had a goal of 7.4%, and we achieved 10%. An important bridge for creating access and opportunity, true access and opportunity on this project continues to be the project labor agreement that was authorized by the governor and led by DCAM and UMBA. An agreement was reached between the general contractor, Walsh Brothers, and the Building and Construction Trades Council of the Metropolitan District. The PLA was crafted with clear measures for achieving workforce goals for minorities, women, Boston residents, and veterans. I must commend the Access and Opportunity Committee. This is a committee that's been meeting over the past 3 years and really doing a fantastic job to show its commitment and raise questions, lift the level of accountability. That was so important relative to these workforce and MBE and WBE participation goals. And I want to especially recognize Ron Marlowe, who during his tenure as Assistant Secretary of Access and Opportunity capably chaired our many spirited meetings, but also people like Susan Moore, Dean of the Labor Resources Center, Liz Skidmore, Jill Alexander, Janet Jones, and there were many others. And of course, I have to recognize my compliance staff. Andrea Lang and Mukia Baker-Gomez have been on the case and guiding this process of compliance throughout. Ladies and gentlemen, we're standing in a facility that is truly world-class and that is an example of the best that can come from a collaborative effort. This building is designed to foster interdisciplinary work and collaboration with flexibly planned laboratories that can easily change over time to accommodate evolving research needs. It's designed and constructed to guarantee that this facility will be an asset to students for many years to come. Now, we know that science facilities like this one are some of the highest users of energy, which is why I'm thrilled to say that this building will use 20% less energy compared to other buildings of its kind, 20%. Through this administration's commitment to leading by example, this building was built to some of the highest energy efficiency standards in the country. High-performance building systems, including new fume hoods that require less airflow, room occupancy sensors in the labs, and the use of solar water for heating are just some of the features that are significantly different and promote energy usage in the best way. Because of these features, this center is poised to obtain a Mass LEED Plus rating and will successfully reduce energy use, increase efficiency, and reduce our carbon footprint and greenhouse gas emissions. I want to thank all of those who helped make this integrated sciences facility a reality. The Chancellor's UMass team, and really special thanks to Ellen O'Connor and Dorothy Renigan, the construction manager, Walsh Brothers, the design team, Goody Clancy, and Associates, Jeff Meyer, the project architect. And of course, I want to take a moment to recognize my tremendous DCAM staff. This wasn't an easy project. It wasn't an easy project, but they persevered and they stood by this university and worked hand in glove and pulled it through, and you see the result. Deputy Commissioner Liz Menace, I want to thank you. Our Director of Planning, Sharon Karen Flugel, Ellen Whittemore, Deputy Director, Gail Rosenberg, Program Manager, and our construction guys, Mike Lambert, Paul Kroniak, Brian Novak, Don Mallow, John McMillan, Paul Schriebman, Ann Storer, Richard Larson, Jane Wang, who does a beautiful job with space planning, and George Carr, our resident engineer. I also want to thank our IFM, that means Integrated Facilities Management, Bridge Services team, because one of the things we recognized as we were trying to pull this building together in the final stages, you know, that last 10% is always the hardest, is that we weren't quite ready to turn it over, and we really needed to make sure that we had a good working knowledge ourselves of the building before we turned it over. And so B.J. Mohammadapur, Vincent Sirigliano, and Travis Hinton have been the core, not the totality, but the core of the team that's been working to put in place bridge services so that in a few months, when we're ready to turn this building over so it can truly be opened, we're sure we're giving a building that's 100% where it should be. I can tell you this one thing in closing, that is, I can't wait to come back in a few months to tour this facility in action and to celebrate the continued growth on this important campus. Thank you so much.
And so, thank you so much, Commissioner Connellison. I want to say I'm grateful to have again my wonderful and beautiful wife, Angela Motley, here with me today. As I told her, I've only been in this building 2 times. And the third time I was coming in here, we were going to walk hand in hand around the building to sort of check it out together. And I'm grateful you were able to find time in your busy life to be here. Senator, grateful to have you front and center. Appreciate having you here and having you represent this great community. Representative Dan Hunt, thank you. I see you sitting next to your man here. He's been smiling all day. I've already acknowledged you, but I figure I'd do it again. My big sister is here, Jean McCormick. She's gone from being chancellor here, the chancellor down there, to now being the wonderful CEO of our Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate. She's my big sister. She kept me out of trouble. As chancellor, she would kick me under the table to make sure I didn't start no mess. And here we are. So thank you. Walsh Brothers, Goody Clancy, all. You've heard all about this building. Now it's time for us to sort of walk through it, check it out, enjoy it. There's food. If you get a little tired, take the elevator down, grab some food, relax a little bit, then get back on and go up to the next floor. There's 220,000 square feet of love in here and opportunity for learning. So I expect it to take you a while, all right? So enjoy. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Harry, is there any pictures or anything you want us to? Governor, can we take just a couple pictures with you?